Bitcoin has finally broken out above the $20,000 price level, putting us at a new all-time high. We just confirmed the highest 4-hour candle close in Bitcoin history. In this video, we're going to discuss exactly what you can expect from the next Bitcoin bull market. We're going to discuss the upside target for Bitcoin in the next year, and we're also going to discuss the bear market low target for Bitcoin in the next 2 years. So you're definitely not going to want to miss this video. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today we're going to be talking about the price of Bitcoin. Before we get started, guys, I need you all to smash up that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Make sure you select all on the notification bell. So let's just jump right into it. Looking at Bitcoin on the 4-hour chart, we can see that we did hit prices around $20,900 US here on Coinbase. We are seeing a little bit of resistance at this price, but nonetheless, we just had our highest 4-hour candle close in Bitcoin history. Now, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be making guesses as to what Bitcoin is going to do at the all-time high. What kind of price action are we going to see here at the all-time high? And I just want to say that it doesn't matter. What happens right here in the short term, in the next few 4-hour candles, in the next day, in the next week, in the next month, actually doesn't matter. The chart that you need to be looking at right now is this long-term chart. What you can see on this chart is that the previous 2 cycles now are pretty much a spitting image of one another. What you got in 2013 was a bull market peak around $1,200. We pulled back to the 200-week moving average, this green line here. Then we pumped up into the halving, and after the halving took place, we broke the all-time high. And just about the exact same thing has just happened here from 2017 going into 2020. For those of you that don't know, the reason why Bitcoin breaks the all-time high after the halving, when the halving takes place, miners receive half the block rewards than they did previously. So since 2016, miners were getting 12 Bitcoin per block, and when the price peaked at 20K, 12 Bitcoin per block actually brought in too much selling pressure. There was too much selling pressure to maintain those price levels with the amount of demand that we had at that point in time. And the price stabilized in between 3K and 14K. We traded sideways all the way until when? The halving of 2020. The block rewards got reduced in half once again to 6.25 Bitcoin per block. So instead of 12 Bitcoin per block every 10 minutes, we got 6.25 Bitcoin per block now here in 2020. And that has reduced selling pressure in half. Miners have half as much Bitcoin to sell onto the open market. And as we've seen in the news recently, demand is only increasing. And because we have half as much selling pressure from miners, Bitcoin's price is now free to move up. And looking at Google Trends data, we are just starting to get a little bit more search volume here for Bitcoin. And now that we broke the all-time high, I would expect an absolute surge here. And here we are in 2020 sitting above the all-time high price post-halving. And what does this mean for Bitcoin? Well, we also have the stock to flow model pulled up on the chart here. And the stock to flow model is suggesting that the next peak price for this upcoming Bitcoin bull market is going to be sitting somewhere around the $250,000 price level. That's right, $250,000 is the next upside target for this Bitcoin bull market. And from last halving to bull market peak, it took about 530 days or so. And from this halving to bull market peak, if we mark up 530 days, then we could expect to hit $250,000 in the second half of 2021. It takes about a year usually for Bitcoin to go from halving to next bull market peak. So second half of 2021 is when I expect Bitcoin to hit about 250,000. And I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, well, 250,000, that just sounds like a lot. That just sounds like too much. I think Kevin might be a little bit too bullish on Bitcoin here. Well, guys, I'm not being overly bullish and I'm not over exaggerating. I'm actually just extrapolating previous cycles and what the stock to flow model is suggesting. And an upside target of $250,000 for Bitcoin is actually the average performance for Bitcoin in a bull market. This is the normal performance of Bitcoin in a bull market, right? Again, this is average performance for Bitcoin. Some people are even more bullish than me. Some people are less bullish than me, but I'm presenting you guys with the most likely average performance for Bitcoin in the next bull market, which is about $250,000 upside target. Recently, a JP Morgan analyst predicted that if just 1% of the assets from pension funds and insurance companies are invested in Bitcoin, the price would end up being about $50,000. But that's just pension funds and insurance companies. That's just 1% of their assets. This doesn't calculate anything else. Every other company, every other person, all the retail traders, every other institution that's looking to buy Bitcoin is not included in that prediction. So that's just talking about pension funds and insurance companies could send the price to 50,000. And with everything else on top of that, seeing a price target of 250,000 is completely normal, actually, normal performance for Bitcoin. And so far, Bitcoin is performing exactly as it should. We use the 200-week moving average as support in this last bear market. We have now flipped the 21-week EMA into support again. Bitcoin has reclaimed the 21-week EMA as support again. The halving took place, and now we're breaking the all-time high here in this cycle as well. So Bitcoin is meeting every single requirement for a major bull market. And we also have news today that the stimulus package is getting closer and closer to getting a deal. And we can see that the stock market is doing quite well. The S&P is at a new all-time high. And when the S&P is doing well, this is historically very good for Bitcoin. And Bitcoin was designed as a hedge against inflation, and 20% of all US dollars were printed this year alone. So this is the perfect storm for Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin does end up following the traditional cycles, then we could expect Bitcoin to actually see a price target of about $250,000. And so far, every major cycle for Bitcoin has had about an 80 to 85% correction to the downside. So from that $250,000 price target, we would pull back to about $50,000. And this would be no different from any previous cycle. Bitcoin would be following this cycle perfectly, coming back to retest the 200-week moving average, which is this green line here, which would be at about 50,000 US dollars. This is the most likely scenario for Bitcoin right now. So what does this mean for you guys? This means that you should be focused on the long term. You're going to watch a lot of YouTube channels that are going to hype up the short-term moves. They're going to have like titles that say big pump, big dump coming, right? I encourage you to completely ignore what analysts are saying about the short term. Completely ignore it, because the long term is the only place that you're really going to make consistent gains. Guys, it is absolutely impossible. It is absolutely impossible to outperform Bitcoin. It is completely impossible, guys. I like, you know, or at least it's extremely unlikely that you're going to outperform Bitcoin in these bull markets. The richest investors in the world don't swing trade, they don't day trade. They focus on long-term gains, macro trends. They want to milk the market for as much gains as possible. And I encourage you guys to do the same. Now, if you guys are looking for entries for Bitcoin on the next bull market, I would say definitely take a look at the blue 21-week EMA here. The 20 to 21-week EMA will very likely be the most accurate or the best area of entry for you, in the next bull run. I think likely we'll be testing the 21-week EMA as we're moving up over the next year. Which means that, yes, we could pump up to prices like 30K and actually then come back to retest close to the all-time high again before rallying out, right? So I do think that even if we pump up thousands and thousands of dollars here in the short term, I think ultimately you'll probably get a good chance to enter Bitcoin somewhere along, current price levels, which means that current price levels actually could be a good entry. We do see huge companies like MicroStrategy, Mass Mutual, and others, scrambling to buy more Bitcoin at the all-time high. And why is it that these companies are buying at the all-time high? Well, because actually, in the long term, people that are buying the all-time high will be considered smart money. Anybody that bought Bitcoin at $1,200 here in 2017 is now considered smart money. From all-time high to bear market low, Bitcoin only went up about 150%, right? From all-time high to bear market low, it was only about 150% gain. And from current all-time high to next bear market low at 50K, as we just discussed, it may only be about 150% of actual progress from all-time high to bear market low, just like the last two cycles. If you are buying Bitcoin now at the all-time high, as irresponsible as it may seem, I actually think it's smart money. I think smart money is buying Bitcoin at the all-time high, just like they did here in 2017. Because after we really clear away from this area, we may never get a chance to buy Bitcoin at these prices, guys. And with all the news that's going to happen now, every major news station is now going to start talking about Bitcoin. With all the news that's coming, I think it's very, very likely that we're going to see Bitcoin go up at least 1,200% in the next year, possibly 1,500% in the next year, testing prices like $250,000 for the next major bull market peak. And then in 2022, I'm expecting a bear market low around 50,000 US dollars. So just to mention once again, the miners are currently receiving 6.25 Bitcoin per block. And once we hit $250,000, 6.25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes will create a lot of selling pressure on the market. And that's what's going to cause the bear market in a major pullback and a lot of bearish speculation down towards that 50K level. And then likely what's going to happen moving into 2025 is we're probably just going to be ranging in this area again. And 6.25 Bitcoin per block will stabilize the price. You know, the demand will still be at a consistent level most likely. But then once this halving takes place here in 2024, that's going to usher in, you know, the next bull market because demand will at least be the same, but selling pressure will once again be reduced in half, which is going to cause the price to moon again. This is how Bitcoin was designed, guys, right? And something else that's very interesting is if you take the 2013 bull market peak and line it up with the 2017 bull market peak, what do you see? You see that this resistance line lines up perfectly with $250,000 price target. If you guys found this video helpful, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. By the way, guys, if you want access to the stock to flow model to this platform, sign up with Cryptowatch. It's totally free. The link is below, and you click this analysis drop-down tab and scroll down to stock to flow. And if you guys want to make sure that you're updated on everything that I'm doing here in the market and you want some extra content, join the Patreon. It's one of the best ways to make sure that you're in touch with everything that I'm doing and exactly what I think about the current state of the market. And that's going to be for me today, guys, and I will see you all in the next video.